Vaibhav Agrawal is joining us. Vaibhav, your first thoughts on the numbers?
Well, at least on the net interest income line as well as the bottom line, the numbers are in fact, in line with our estimates. We were above the street a little bit and they are sort of in line. I think asset quality for PNB was expected to deteriorate. One jewelry account, large jewelry account was pretty well known. So, that is likely come in. In fact, we were expecting, an even larger increase in gross NPAs. Possibly the bank would have taken large write-offs during the quarter, which kept it lower than what we expected.
I think their exposure to Winsome itself was about 1,000 crores or more. So that itself would have accounted for that 1,500 crore increase in gross NPLs. And then, of course, there should have been other accounts as well. Does it look like stabilizing at all, Vaibhav, or is this bad news going to continue?
Well, at the beginning of the year, at least, we thought that, the first quarter would be bad, but, towards the later half of the year, things would start improving. But now where we are placed in the economic environment, we have to extrapolate, this kind of number to continue for the coming quarters, and the numbers are likely to be downgraded, because of that.
Okay, actually, just to, Ekta had those numbers. The exposure to Winsome, I think, was 2,000 crore. And the other important number to note is the slippages quarter on quarter in Q4 was 970 crore. So this time it looks quite clearly much higher than that, though we cannot just extrapolate the increase in gross NPLs as slippages, but it looks like the slippages will definitely be higher, and that is the telltale evidence. We are not getting anything to show that the worst is over. It is just getting still worse. So, you can't even say with confidence that 597, you have knocked off, probably half-time book, and that's it. You're not sure, because things could get worse.
In fact, it's Central Bank of India, it's State Bank of Mysore, IOB, all these PSU banks which have come out have actually disappointed sorely in terms of their asset quality. So Central Bank's gross NPA went up 125 basis points on a sequential basis. For State Bank of Mysore, it was up 108 basis points. And even for PNB, it's up 57
Provision
basis.
coverage ratio is 54.6. Again, that's not a very good number.
Not that good.
So, there could be much more to ask in terms of provisioning as well.
Okay, let's go across to Rajiv Mehta of IIFL. He as well joins in with his take. Rajiv, what did you make of what asset quality PNB has reported, and how would you trade the stock now? It's already lost over 5%.
Yeah, so clearly the asset quality is extremely bad in this quarter, and we were expecting this, especially with PNB reporting pretty stable asset quality in the previous two quarters. So we had this lumpiness which was expected in the coming quarter. And I think the slippages which we were actually expecting at about 21 billion fresh additions, the number possibly could be larger than that. So I would say still, I think there's disappointment with these numbers. Certainly, I think such a bad quarter, even vis-a-vis expectations, was not expected.
Okay. Actually, Rajiv, just a few more numbers which you all will be interested in. The provision coverage ratio has fallen from 58.4% to 54.6%. So a good 4 percentage point fall in the provision coverage ratio, and that completely opens up why the profit was higher. I mean, if they had provided correctly, the profit would have been much lower actually. So provisions have fallen from 1,400 crore to 1,066 crore at a time when you're actually generating more NPLs. So clearly you're providing for less of the fresh NPLs that you have generated. The profit, it's really nothing to say that the profit was flat. It should not have been flat. It should have been much lower. You chose not to provide. You exercise your discretion, probably hoping that next quarter you will have a little more elbow room. Vaibhav, you wanted to come back on that? I mean, what is the point in reporting a higher profit when you haven't covered the gaps in your asset quality?
Yeah, I would agree with you over there. Clearly, the decline in provision coverage, the profit numbers would be taken with a pinch of salt. And, there would have also been treasury gains during this quarter. So if we remove that for coming quarters, the run rate for the net profits are likely to be much lower in the coming quarters.
Rajiv, what would your target price in PNB be, and is there a reason to downgrade PNB? Because, after last qualities, despite an asset quality, again we are seeing, it hitting rough water. So do you fear more asset quality pressures, and therefore you would choose to downgrade the stock?
Yeah, absolutely. We do see the pressures mounting, and further from here on, as the economy is not likely to recover soon, and with the stress persisting for a longer time, we do see a lot of NPL sitting on the fence, also getting converted into bad loans. So having said this, we think that the asset quality pressures would continue, and in the last 3 months we have already downgraded PSU banks, and we are not advising or at least creating any kind of positions, not even trading positions on PSU banks, given the fact that the quarterly numbers and if you look at their overall metrics and the profitability, I think there is no reason to cheer on any of the accounts.
Does asset quality stay as bad as it has been in the last 1 year, or do you see it getting worse?
No, of course, there is a case to assume, to be on the conservative side and assume that it's going to deteriorate further in the next 12 months, because as generally all of us know that it tends to behave with a 1 year lag with the economy. So if the economy is not improving and it is persisting to be bad, then I would say that the pressures, I think the worst pressures in terms of asset quality are yet to come.
6% now down.
Yeah. Rajiv, how are the valuations looking now? At the moment that's priced at 590, the stock. What is this in terms of price to book? How many times?
So, frankly, valuations will look slightly absurd at this point in time, because they might look really attractive on theoretical basis, but practically, there's no reason to buy these stocks at this point in time, because we do expect further downsides for PSU banks, even from these valuations. Because I think the denominator, as far as valuations are concerned, will consistently be revised downwards from here on.
Actually, Bank of India as well, which comes out with earnings, has slipped after PNB disappointed. So Bank of India as well should come up. That one is now down 4.5%.
Vaibhav, you also want to make a valuation comment?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with Rajiv over there. Valuations at 0.5 price to would deceptively look cheaper, but in this environment, valuations don't really matter, and the stock can actually correct further, because the book value itself is circumspect. With the net NPAs piling up, the book value itself could continue to take a big hit for PSU banks.
Yes, I guess it's, PNB is the best proxy for the Indian economy, and if this is where the economy is headed, then it's not surprising that PNB is taking it on the chin. It's it's an expectation. You cannot expect them to do otherwise.
Vaibhav, what are the key numbers that you're watching out for on the restructuring? What is the market pricing in? So when we get the actual figure, we'll know whether it's it's in line with street expectations or not. So
Restructuring as well as slippages.
Slippages, restructuring, and on recoveries.
So as far as the slippages and recoveries are concerned, net level we were anyways expecting close to 2,500 crores increase, and after write-ups, I think that is broadly what the bank has given. But we would need more sort of granular details before we can really comment on that. Even on restructuring, already the bank has a huge restructuring book. We'd really wait for the management to shed light on how things will move in terms of upgrades from the restructure as well as the slippages from the restructure as well.
Vaibhav, would you worry about this fall in provision coverage?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, that is clearly the trend. I mean, PNB hardly a few quarters back was well above 75%, and the trend of virtually every quarter there is a big decline in coverage. So, which is where as you're pointing out, the book value is taking a hit every quarter because of that, and that is what is really worrying the market quite significantly.
All right, Vaibhav. Thanks a lot for joining us.